Coming up on FYI, a young campaigner who wants to clean up our rivers, Taylor Swift fever hits the UK again, and the teenage magician with his very own show. Welcome to FYI, your weekly news show bringing you the stories that matter to you. First up, something that's pretty gross that's been making the headlines recently. Sewage is the waste and dirty water that flows into the sewers when we flush the loo or run a tap. The raw sewage is usually taken to a sewage treatment works where it's cleaned and released back into waterways like rivers. But did you know that too much dirty, untreated sewage is ending up in our rivers when it shouldn't be? And lots of people aren't happy about it. Here's Yara with more info.
On days like today, it's easy to see why so many of us enjoy being on or near water. Max and his mum Georgie love spending time in the River Chew.
I enjoy being around the water because it just helps me decompress if I've had a bad day at school. It makes me feel happy.
If you are tempted, like Max, to spend time in open water, remember, rivers and lakes can be very dangerous places where sadly each year children drown. So always swim with an adult who can help in case of an emergency, and always stay within your depth. But there is another danger that is lurking in many of our rivers, which Max is growing more and more concerned about. And what have you been noticing in the rivers recently?
I've been noticing a brown sludge and also the water's looking quite a lot more murky and it's smelling.
What was your reaction when you heard that there were several areas around here where sewage was spilled?
It makes me quite sad and angry because it's just poisoning the water. I mean, we should be able to swim, kayak, but then the water companies are just pumping sewage into what we should be able to swim in.
A study found that up to 83% of English rivers contain high levels of pollution. But what I want to know is how this is happening. Well, it's coming from various sources, like farms and industry. But the one making the headlines right now is pollution from our own sewers. In the UK, rain and sewage share the same pipes. So if there is too much rain, sewage can sometimes be released into waterways to prevent the system from backing up. Last year, there was a record amount of human waste dumped in waterways, more than double the amount during the previous year. Untreated sewage in large amounts can be harmful to both humans and nature who come into contact with it. Take the River Chew, for example, where we currently are. There are several areas around here where sewage spillage has happened, worst of which being 1.5 miles down that way, which went on for 149 days non-stop. That's nearly 5 months, and that's a lot of poo. Max is determined to do something about it. He's joined other local people in collecting data about the river he visits. So what are you doing today?
I am counting riverfly larvae.
And how can counting riverfly larvae help us assess the water quality?
Because riverfly larvae need clean water to survive. So if there are low numbers, then it means that the water quality is quite bad.
Do you think the other nature's being affected by the sewage, and why is this worrying?
Other nature must be being affected because lots of animals depend on the river to survive, like otters, kingfishers, birds and other mammals.
We got in touch with the new Labour government, who told us
for too many years, water companies were allowed to ruin our rivers and seas by pumping untreated sewage into them. We've told them this is unacceptable and they must spend more money to sort out their sewer networks and prevent harm to people and the environment.
We also contacted Water UK, which represents all the water companies across Britain. They said that
no one wants to see sewage in the rivers, and we propose to spend over £100 billion to reduce sewage spills by 40% by 2030.
a big argument going forward is how much companies can add to our water bills to pay towards this huge cost. And that's only to reduce spills by less than a half. For now, Max will continue his work, helping to monitor the health of his nearby river to try and make sure it stays safe for everyone to enjoy.
And remember, if you want to report on a story that's important to you, get in touch on our website at first.news/FYI. Well, from smelly rivers to smelly dogs, we saw another story making the headlines, but we weren't sure if it was fake news or fact, so we did some digging. Apparently, a top designer fashion brand has released a new perfume for dogs. It will reportedly set owners back a whopping £84. Are they barking mad, or is this just fake news? We'll let you know later in the show. Taylor Swift fever has hit the UK once again. The singer has been on a world tour and she's back performing in London for the second time this summer. Her shows are sold out, but you can celebrate the pop icon at one of the most prestigious museums in the capital, which is hoping to bring more young people through its doors.
The Victoria and Albert Museum in London, known as the V&A, is a world-renowned museum of art and design, full of historic objects. But today, it's causing a bit of a stir by doing something quite unexpected. A trail dedicated to the pop phenomenon, Taylor Swift.
Now, this exhibition isn't for the lazy couch potato, as it's over 1 mile long, and some say it can take over 1 hour to get through it. So I guess I better get going then. You know, it's crazy how some of Taylor Swift's most iconic pop clothes are surrounded by some of these priceless works of art.
The Taylor Swift Trail takes you on a journey through 13 stops, each representing a chapter in her music career. From her early country roots to her transformation into a global pop icon.
Okay, it's been 40 minutes, 6 stops down, 7 more to go. Now, this isn't just about photo ops and fun. The V&A is using this exhibition to draw in younger visitors, which is something museums have struggled to do since the pandemic.
Statistics show a drop of roughly a sixth in under 16s visiting museums. So, is it working? I'm joined by Kate Bailey, the curator of the Taylor Swift Trail.
We certainly saw a drop-off of visitors, like lots of venues and museums after the pandemic, but it's been really, really exciting over the last 3 or 4 years to see that kind of coming back to pre-pandemic levels.
So I'm not gonna lie, the trail's been great, but I've been getting a bit of a sweat on. What is the idea of dotting the trail all across the museum and not just keeping it contained in one place?
One of the reasons, something that I'm really passionate about, was finding ways of engaging people in our galleries and in our collections, and so using Taylor Swift as a lens to discovering all sorts of spaces across the V&A.
So the V&A is a very prestigious museum filled with so many historical objects. What would you say to the people who say that the Taylor Swift Trail shouldn't be here?
Oh, I think that's shocking. I think anybody that thinks it shouldn't be here, I'll have a conversation with them because, you know, we're a museum of 5,000 years of creativity. It's our job to engage with contemporary artists, and Taylor Swift is one of the biggest artists in the world. And actually what this trail is doing is not just introducing new audiences to the V&A, it's introducing traditional V&A audiences to Taylor Swift. She is one of the sort of biggest artists of our generation.
A fisherman from Devon landed a very rare catch, a 27-year-old Lego shark. The shark went missing in a huge spill in 1997, when a cargo ship was hit by a massive wave, and many of its shipping containers got swept away. One container had almost 5 million pieces of Lego in it, and this shark is thought to be the first to have been found from the spill, one of over 50,000 toy sharks still lost at sea. Now for something incredible. The teenage magician, Cillian O'Connor, who wowed us all with his amazing tricks on Britain's Got Talent, has got his very own magic show that he's been touring around the UK this summer. Braden went to check it out.
Pick a card, any card. Is that the Ace of Spades? No, it's not. Well, I've come to meet someone that you might remember. 14-year-old magician Cillian O'Connor. He's just started touring his very own magic show, and I've come all the way to meet him and to get some hopefully well-needed tips. I got in there just as he was warming up for his show. What would you say is your greatest ever achievement?
I have to say 3rd place on Britain's Got Talent, because I wouldn't be here today without Britain's Got Talent. You can of course have my own tour.
How did that feel when you were on the stage?
For the audition I was very nervous. My legs were shaking, but you couldn't see it on camera.
Well, you wouldn't be able to tell you were very nervous, of course. You were amazing. Killian has autism, which means his brain works differently to some, and he says the magic has really helped him.
I kind of struggled before I found the magic, and with the autism, I had very bad social skills, so I wouldn't be able to go out and just talk to people. But after finding the magic, I found I was able to go out and interact with people. And even then, with my fine motor skills, it would have been hard for me to do stuff with my hands. But after messing around with decks of cards and Rubik's Cubes, it became a lot easier. So magic was a lifeline for me.
And it's amazing to see how far you've come then from that, because on the surface, like me, watching you do your magic on Britain's Got Talent, you'd never have thought that, because you're so confident and you come across so well. Can you show me a trick?
Using this deck of cards, I'd like you to see that every single card is completely different.
Yeah, it is. I can confirm.
Now, I'll give this deck a quick shuffle. And Braden, what I'd like you to do, just say stop whenever you want.
Stop.
I would like you to look at that card and remember it. Don't tell me what it is.
Got it.
We'll lose that card into the middle of the deck, just like this. Now, what I'd like you to do, Braden, is to name a number between 1 and 10.
7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What was the card you chose?
The Queen of Hearts.
In the 7th position, the Queen of Hearts.
That is brilliant. Now, for any young, people that want to be a magician and look at yourself and are inspired, what would you say to them?
Then it would be Simon Cowell's magic word, dog. Don't give up on your dreams. Only you can create your story and go the distance.
Well, with those words of wisdom, it's time to take my seat and watch him in action. So it's starting to fill up now, the excitement is starting to build.
Welcome to my world of magic. Sometimes everything is not quite as it seems. Watch. The black hole. A journey that begins where everything ends.
As the youngest magician to have his own solo show at just 14, Killian really is creating his own magic story.
So, how did you get on with this week's fake news or fact story? Well, it's fact that the top fashion designer brand, Dolce & Gabbana, has released an upmarket perfume for pooches. The Dog Mist spray has a hefty price tag of £84, so it's only for the most pampered pets. That's about it from us, but if you're looking for more top news, head to first.news/FYI. See you next week!